What's up guys, your boy Gus back again with another video, and today I'm doing another part of the DBD X something collab with family collab videos. It has been very fun doing these. The last two were very fun to do, and I'm going to do another one. And today I'm going to do so I gotta keep forgetting. What if DBD collabed with Beastars? Now, this is the first one I'm making of these with the thing that I'm talking about that's been collabing with DBD. It's not a horror media kind of thing, because DBD is a horror game and then Murder Drones has some like eldritch horror thing. And Beastars is like one of those, so it's not really like a horror type of anything. It doesn't really, not really horror anything with it. Yeah. But I feel like this could be a very fun one to do, and I made want to do this one because not that long ago the finale of the Beastars anime came out, and I watched it and enjoyed it a lot. So I wanted to do one of these of Beastars. Now, I'm sorry again. I'm always hard time doing these stuff. Yeah, as usual, the orders of the things are, as always, first the map, then the survivor, and then the killer. Now, I'll say this for this one mainly because the ending, the finale came out not long ago. Spoiler warning. I might be talking about some stuff that are a bit more later on in the show, and if you guys haven't watched it, please do. It's very good. So yeah, I'm gonna try my best not to spoil too much, but again, I might say something there, just in case. Spoiler warning. Yeah. Anyways, guys, remember, if you have any ideas of what you want me to do for the next part, let me know in the comments down below, just like a show, game, any of those, and I can come up with something about that. Yeah. Anyways, now let's begin with the new map. Now, as for the map, I was thinking mainly about one idea that came to mind. I feel like it could make the most sense, and that is the black market. Now, let me quickly explain what the black market is, you guys who have not watched or read Beastars. The black market in Beastars is where all of the illegal meat, or just meat, is being sold in the world of Beastars. Because in the world, eating meat is not frowned upon, but buying and selling it is pretty frowned upon and illegal. So that's why the black market is like the only place where it's allowed to be sold. So I feel like the black market, how it should look, it could be very similar to how the new Trickster map looks. But instead of being like this very colorful, like a neon aesthetic, it's a bit more like dark, a bit more like less colorful, a bit more dim with the lighting and stuff. Like we've seen in the anime, how it's shown with like the orange lighting all the stalls around. That could fit very well for a map, I feel like. But yeah, other than that, I don't know what else to say. That's what I have idea for the map. But anyways, now let's move on to the survivor. Now, as for the survivor, for the survivors, I really want to do main important characters, but who aren't like known to be in like a fighting type, who are a bit more like trying to be peaceful kind of way. It's hard to explain, but anyways, what I've decided to do, also because Beastars is a bit weird because this is like the first one where the characters aren't human, they're animals. So this is gonna be the first time where I'm probably one to do these where the kind of adding isn't a human, but they are humanoid in this show. They're depicted as kind of humanoid animals. Yeah. But the survivor I'm gonna choose is Haru. And those guys who don't know how Haru is the main love interest, and she's like, I'll say she's the secondary main character, or like the third main character. Beastars is like about three main characters kind of, but I would say she is one of them. Now, I may choose Haru because she is a very important connection thing for the killer, which I will bring up the killer after this, but that's why I chose Haru for this. Now, as for Haru's perks, these are some coming. Perk number 1, Stoicism. Now, Stoicism is mainly a person who isn't afraid of death or doesn't fear it, which is something Haru shows a lot in the anime and the manga. And she said it herself, because she's a rabbit, she's small, and she also has the worry about the carnivores around her. She isn't afraid of death, which is, I think, is a cool idea for a character. So this is what I come up with for her. Now, what Stoicism does is when you're in a chase, you leave no scratch marks when you're running, when you're in the chase. But it will go on cooldown. It goes on cooldown for 60 seconds after ending a chase. So after a chase has been ended, the perk will go on cooldown for 60 seconds. Now, this is like to show where even in danger, she can still hide where she is going. Which I think makes sense for like somebody who's not afraid of death. They aren't really care about hiding. They can hide it even when in the face of danger. They can still hide their traces. I think it makes a lot of sense for her. Now, as for her second perk, I've come up with Rapid Instincts, which is of course related to her rapid side. Now, for this, what I come up with is after being injured, so after you get hit and put into the injured state, your next fall is 50% faster. But this perk does not work if you get healed before vaulting. This perk only works when you do a vault after you have been injured. So you can't get injured, run away, heal, and then get 50% vault. You can't do that. You have to be injured in order to get that vault. Which I think is pretty risky. If you think, vaulting is a great way to get away from the killer, so having 50% vault is great. But not having the ability to heal before using that makes it so you have to either just try to just use it to quickly get away, instead of trying to get away, heal, and then you can vault using it. Now, as for the final perk, I gotta hope I can pronounce this correctly. The final perk is Horticulturist. I hope I say that correctly. A horticulturist is like somebody who's into like gardening or like nature plants, which is something that Haru is, because it's a lot of times shown with scenes with Haru. She is I get attachment to growing plants, flowers, stuff like that. She's always in the gardening clubs in the school she's in. Now, what this perk does is something I would say is pretty unique. Now, what this is that when using this perk, around the map you can find flowers on like the ground that you can pick up. You can have a maximum of 10 flowers on you. And how many flowers? You can see how many flowers you have by the amount of what number is on the perk. So if it says like a 5, you have 5 flowers on you right now. For each flower you have, you get a 5% bonus to healing. So in total, that is I got math. 5 times 10, that is 50. So a 50% bonus to healing. So we have all 10 flowers. But when you get hit, you'll lose 10 flowers. Now I feel like this is a pretty good idea because Haru has been shown she always likes taking care of like nature and stuff. So having a power where you could pick a flower makes sense. And she's also been shown to take care of people a lot, like help them get back to health and take care of their wounds and injuries and stuff. Now, as for any like cosmetic or like skins, not really, because Haru has been always have like the same kind of outfits, just a couple of different outfits in the anime and the manga, but I would say she should just have probably the only outfit that would give her is like her her season 1 outfit, which is like just the church on the can their school is called. That uniform for the girls there is like a white dress. I'll show an image of. Well, you've seen the image of the characters, you know what the outfit looks like. But I think that's the only like outfit I can think of giving her. But yeah. Anyways, now, without further ado, let's move on to the killer. Now, as for the killer, it was a bit hard to come up with a good killer, but I think what would make the most sense is the main bad guy in the later half of the Beastars manga and anime. And so, it's what I come up with. The killer is going to be Melon, or as I'm gonna call him because of the beta how the beta works, the Beast. Now we get a pretty boring name. That's his animal, calling him the Beast. Pretty boring, but this is what I've come up with for. First off, let's begin with his power. Now his power, it's going to be called Taste of Pain. Now I feel like that's a pretty cool sounding power, and I feel like this fits with his character. Now here's how it works. After you get 3 hits on any survivor, you can even split them out between survivors. If you get 3 hits, you can activate your Taste of Pain, which is like a kind of a different mode or transformation you can activate. When active, you gain 5% haste, you vault 30% faster, and you get a 30% cooldown on hitting survivors. So your cooldown for hitting survivors is way shorter. Now, Taste of Pain is active for 60 seconds, so about a minute, and when it's gone, you didn't have to get 4 hits to activate it again. And yeah, the amount of hits you need goes up by 1 after each use. The first time it's only 3 hits, then it's 4, 5, 6, and so on and so forth. I feel like even though it's not that strong sounding power, I feel like it could fit with like his a bit more aggressive beastly side taking over after getting a cold hit. He gets more monstrous and beast-like, a bit more aggressive. Now, this is what I've come up with for his perks. Now, for his first perks, this is the first time I'm doing one of these type of perks. I've never done one of these before. It's a hex perk. Now, what a hex perk is a perk where on the map there are some things called totems. And what a hex perk does is one each totem gets turned into a hex totem. When a totem is lit, the power of that specific hex will work. So, for example, the hex perk I'm coming with is called Hex Hunt for Blood. What this hex totem does is when the hex is active, and it will automatically activate at the start of a trial, anyone who becomes injured will gain hemorrhage and mangle for 20 seconds. And hemorrhage and mangle, hemorrhage does so the survivor bleeds more, and there's I think it's 5% to healing speed. I don't remember exactly the percentage, but there's reduced percentage to healing speed. And they become mangled, which does so that if their healing is interrupted, then their healing progress will go down. And they'll gain these added conditions for about 20 seconds, so not too long. And second effect of this is you will see a random injured survivor's aura every 20 seconds. So let's say if you have all 4 survivors injured, every 20 seconds, if the Hex turn is still active, you will see one of the survivor's aura. And I'll say the aura reveal is only, I'll say 3, maybe 5 seconds, so it's not too long. And the Hex perk will stop working if survivors can find the Hex totem and cleanse it, which is the risk of using Hex perks. But most Hex perks are pretty powerful, so that's why it's risk reward. You can use it and be insanely strong for most of the game, but if survivor cleanses them, you become very weak. Now, as for his second perk, it's called Mother's Gift. Now, before I go, let me quickly, a bit of a spoiler here for Melon's character. Now, as you might see by his character design, you can see that one of the animals he is a gazelle. But that's not the only thing he is. He's also part, oh, I gotta remember what, I think it was jaguar. Yeah, he's also part jaguar, which he got from his mother's side. This is why the perk is called Mother's Gift. What this perk does is when you down a survivor, your aura will be revealed to a random survivor that is not downed for 10 seconds. And then you will see that survivor's aura for the same amount of time. So it gives you a next target after you have downed a survivor. So like a jaguar, you will quickly go at your next target after putting down the first one. Being could make a good amount of sense. Now as for his third and final purge, the third perk was a bit hard to come up with because I couldn't remember exactly most about his character. I do remember quite a bit. So this is what it comes with. The third perk is called Head of the Lions, which is a reference because in Beastars he becomes the head of a Yakuza group called the Shishigumi. And the Shishigumi is a group primarily of only lions. So he becomes the head of that Yakuza group. Or clan, whatever you will call it. And what this does is, when a survivor is in your terror radius and they leave it, you will gain a token, up to a max of 5. For each token, you gain 3% haste at the start of your next chase for 5 seconds. But when you hit a survivor, you will lose 2 tokens. So while it's a bit of a weaker version of the perk Play With Your Food, which is a perk which does so if you're chasing your obsession and then you leave, you will gain a token up to 3. And I think each token will give you I think it's 7% haste. So it's kind of the same with that, but a bit weaker. Because it's 3 times 5, which will be 15%. So it's weaker, but it's kind of the same. But you don't have to chase after. You don't even have to chase a survivor. You just have to be in your terror radius. So technically, you can actually be pretty good because sometimes the survivors are in your terror radius, but you can't see them. And if they leave it, you will just gain a token, so you know a survivor was close by. This is it's actually a pretty good perk if used correctly with some killers who have pretty big terror radius. Alright, maybe I should quickly explain because I'm not sure if I've done this before. But a terror radius, what that is each killer has a terror radius. And what that is a zone basically around them. Most of the time, most killers have a 32-meter terror radius. And if a survivor is in that radius, they will start to hear music pick up. And now, depending on how close the killer is, it will get more and more intense until the music will get the most intense when the killer is chasing you. So yeah. But anyways, yeah, that will be the end of today's video. Hope you guys enjoy your time. These are always so fun to do. Hope you enjoy your time. And remember, you matter in this world. There's always someone who will love and care about you. And no matter where you are, no matter what you're going through, just remember, you're loved and appreciated. Be happy, stay happy. See all you lovely people next time. Later, Bucket Army.